watching Force 13's live streaming service. You're watching Force 13 live. The rain's falling. I'm here. My name's Nathan Foy. Hello, and we're joined by the Skype team as always during this hour. In this hour, we're joined by Leighton, Craig, and David, just as we were in the last. Before we get on to them, I believe I've just got word that the International Space Station will be going above Debbie. Flying over Debbie in 10 minutes, so we'll get that to you if and when. I'm assuming it's a when that happens. Guys, hello.
Hi Nathan, and we have the latest on Tropical Cyclone Debbie issued about 2 minutes ago. The warning area hasn't changed, there's no cancelled area. Tropical Cyclone Debbie remains Category 4 with sustained winds near the centre of 175 kilometres per hour with wind gusts to 250 kilometres per hour. Location within the 30 kilometres and 19.8 degrees south, 149.2 degrees east. Estimated to be 105 kilometres east-north-east of Bowen, 75 kilometres north-north-east of Hamilton Island. So it's north-east of Hamilton Island, Nathan.
Right.
And movement is west-southwest, but 8 kilometres per hour. So has she slowed?
6 knots.
Still 6 knots. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to make of its movement right now. Only what it appears on satellite and radar imagery.
Yep. Unfortunately, landfall has been pushed back to midday.
Really? How?
Oh, God.
Severe Tropical Cyclone Debbie, as we know, remains Category 4. Forecast to make landfall between Air and Midpoint late this morning towards midday.
They still think it's going to pretty much go right over Bowen.
Yes.
That is what they're saying. As a Category 4 on the Australian scale. And yeah, you're right. They are saying that will be at 12 p.m. Interesting.
2 o'clock our time.
So we'll be here for a long time, it seems. It always ends up that way, doesn't it?
Well, Nathan, there's enough information to support that position, isn't there? But the destructive core is now starting to impact the Whitsunday Islands, as we know. And the system is forecast to cross the coast. Yeah, sorry guys, towards midday, with wind gusts potentially to 260 kilometres an hour.
Now they're saying 260.
160 miles an hour.
Pretty much.
So what does that mean? Are they indicating
I think the nuts in saying something like that. But yeah. For the wind gusts to increase to Category 5 Saffir-Simpson, I think they're nuts in saying that, but maybe. The current highest gust recorded is 115 117 miles per hour. There's a long way between that and 160 after all. Were you going to say something?
I was going to say, well, we can have a nice and lively debate about the Bureau of Meteorology over here in Australia.
Want one? You want one, do you? Because you're not very pleased with them anymore, are you?
No, I'm still waiting for a response to my query.
Well, if they're watching, they'll know. Go on, what was the query? Just in case they're listening. You never know.
Oh, information. When there's information on the same item, but there's two different positions.
Oh my god. Guys, the storm is stalling. It looks like it's doing a little loop. The latest frame, it looks like it's gone due north in that last frame. And I reckon it's going to do an Inaro style loop here. I don't know.
It's going to do loop for loop, is it?
Well, it could do a very tight loop before turning towards, before going with plan A, as it were.
Well, I like to see it come down towards my location. But I think, I'm going to get Debbie's deep depression. But Nathan, I think looking at the satellite, I think she's had a bit of a wobble from a northeasterly or the eye
west, and a wobble north at the moment is a wobble. It's not a.
Well, what about a northeast
trend? Well, not yet, but I don't know unless radar tells you something that's more up to date with regards to that. But if you got any evidence to show that, you can screen share it, of course.
I've got radar on it at the moment. Just need to find the sky.
But at the moment, David, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it yet.
I'll put it on there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it from my other computer.
Yep.
I'm on.
I'm just having a close look at it.
That looks very near the edge.
It's tantalisingly close to land.
Two o'clock in the morning.
Well, it's what time is it then? It's 6 o'clock now, is it, David?
8 minutes past 6.
It makes landfall at 2 o'clock in the morning our time.
Now that means my the server page is broken. Hold on, we'll try and get that back. But I don't know if you've got anything more to say on Debbie right now with the latest. The warnings, of course, extending from, I assume it's the same locations, from Lucinda to St. Lawrence, inland as far as Mount Coulon, Pentland and many other locations.
I think I'm seeing another eyeball forming on radar. Not sure though.
Another eye wall already? I'm not so sure.
I'm just wondering whether the eye started to cover up.
I'm just waiting to see whether we're going to get the International Space Station footage live here. It's expected in just a minute or two. Oh, maybe not that. But yeah, I'm just waiting for that right now. Not seeing anything at the moment though. Sounds like it's windy somewhere though. Yes, sounds like it's at Leighton's place.
Nope.
Yes.
Certainly is.
Nope.
Now,
I think the microphone's a bit close over there.
Yeah, my microphone is very close.
Yes, you might want to move it away slightly. If you've got any questions for us whilst we're on the air, please send us a message. Start your message with Force 13 for us to see it and pick it out easily. Any questions in particular about the storm, we can try and assist you with. And we should have an answer for most things, because it is pretty... Well, it was clear-cut as to where this storm was going to go, but it doesn't seem so much anymore.
I'm just looking at the ISS, but I've got nothing on the screen.
Yeah, me neither.
Nathan, is this same?
I'm waiting for that right now to see if we can bring that to you when it does occur. That's sort of where my attention is at right now. But there's the latest loop of the storm, and what is it doing in those last frames? Is it going to do a little loop, or will it turn back towards the west and west-southwest in those next frames? Only time will tell. Don't know if, David, you want to show... well, you might be a bit busy right now, but if you can show radar, perhaps, the latest.
I'll pull it up if you want.
Alright, if you'd like to do that later, I'm just fine-tuning my other computer.
But as we say, I mean, the positioning... one position update had it 5 miles northeast of Hook Island, which itself is only a stone's throw away from the Whitsunday Island. Whitsunday Island, 10 miles. I get the impression that they're called the Whitsunday Islands, but there is one distinct Whitsunday Island as well. Is that right, David?
Oh, gee, now you got me on that one.
Well,
regardless, I'll come back to...
regardless, it's 23 miles from Hamilton Island. That was at the last update at the top of the hour. But who knows when it's going to make landfall now.
Radar's up. I pulled up Bowen.
There's the latest radar. Okay, questions. Some interesting questions. Let's begin with the first one. Where's the first one? I'll get there shortly. Okay, yeah. Daniel Barber suggests direct hit in Townsville, question mark. I don't think so, but you never know. Some telling us the conditions in Charles Towers, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy. Winds expected to get to 40 to 60 miles per hour. Someone else asked me a question. What do you think to the Met Office starting to name winter storms?
Oh God, how's that related?
You can answer it.
It's a good idea, right?
You can answer the question. I think it's outrageous, personally.
How is that outrageous?
But I'm in a minority on that one. I just don't think people love naming everything, and it just I just don't like the sensationalization that comes with naming everything and everything, anything and everything. Winter storms seems to be the in thing right now.
Next they'll be naming tornadoes and dust devils.
Could be. Maybe you could start it, Craig. What variables cause a cyclone to swing away from land? Craig, any thoughts on that?
Rough could do it.
Well, it's many different factors. It could be high pressure. It could be,
Yeah, high pressure pushing it. It could be a trough picking it up, as you often see in the Atlantic. It's not that in this instance because it's turning north, which is not polar.
Nope.
Is there a ridge nearby by any chance?
Is there what? Sorry?
Is there a ridge nearby by any chance? I don't
sure.
know any positions of ridges. I'm not familiar with Australia, so...
No, we're not very... David's the only one who's familiar with Australia here. And he's preoccupied by the sound of things.
Yes, I am. Just thinking about Debbie, 12 p.m. Cat 4. So it's going to be the Bowen Proserpine area, Nathan. But
It looks like.
is she going to deepen? Is she going to get up to the high range Cat 4?
No, I don't think so. You look at the imagery right now. It's not really very inspiring.
Okay,
when
radar
when
showing some heavy rain.
Not really inspiring when you compare it to what it looked like 7 or 8 hours ago.
True indeed.
And there you can see the Mackay radar loop there. The southern half of the storm clearly noted there, and outer bands. Looks like one just swept through Mackay in the last few minutes. Sort of a double band,
Yeah,
really.
in the last 15 minutes.
So they're in a little area where there's nothing at the moment. Jason, our technical guy, tells me the International Space Station has just moved over Hong Kong, so it should be over Australia pretty soon. Though I'm still not getting any visuals on that. We'll hopefully bring that to you when it does occur.
Hopefully. But how soon?
Well, in the next 5 minutes, I hope. We're sort of hanging
Oh.
till then. We've been hanging for 15 minutes here.
Now, what we're hanging from?
We
a
don't.
thread or?
Yeah, indeed. We don't really have much new news to bring you anyway, as it happens. I don't know whether, David, you've got any news of anything that's happened on land, damage reports, or anything new with that in that regard.
Just looking for any news now. It's been reported that Debbie has slowed.
I've just figured out why we can't see anything on the International Space Station feed, David. It's night time, of course.
Yes, and it's
How
just
could we forget
coming
that?
into the light now.
Is it? Well, I can't see it.
Okay.
How could you see that? I can't. Outrageous behaviour.
You see it? It's coming over the horizon.
Well, it's not
now.
on my screen yet.
You might be looking at the back view.
Something or other. Who knows? We'll wait and see.
Radio New Zealand is reporting that this is the headline: Cyclone brings wind like a freight train towards the Queensland coast.
Oh.
The most powerful cyclone for years is showing no signs of weakening as it barrels towards Australia's North Queensland coast, with wind gusts of up to 75
Pressures
kilometres
up.
predicted.
Just to reiterate there on that headline, when you said it shows no signs of weakening, it sort of did. Just a little
It's
bit.
31 minutes ago on the Radio New Zealand's website.
Oh.
And thousands of North Queenslanders have been evacuated as winds of more than 200 kilometres an hour, possibly a 4-metre storm surge, guys.
Wow.
That's a bit
That is
tough
the
feat.
other thing, the storm surge. And if it doesn't reach
Just repeat
4
that for me.
meters, possible 4-metre
Wow.
storm surge predicted. And when I watched the news last night, they were saying anywhere above 2.5.
Storm there.
That's amazing. That sounds pretty bad.
Oh dear.
What now?
Nothing.
Oops, wrong button. Right, now I think we can bring to you the feed from the International Space Station. Here's the latest that it's getting right now. As you can see, it's just about to reach first light. And at some point we may get to see Debbie on this. I'm not fully sure that we will, but I'm hoping so, certainly. If not, we've just got a nice view of this beautiful blue marble that we're on.
You can always be optimistic.
So that's the latest from the International Space Station as it approaches the light.
And we say to, in comical words, don't go towards the light. Literally, this one is. Well, the satellite is, anyway.
Oh. Ow. Oh. Oh.
And there you can see the sun has just risen above the curvature of the Earth and has lit up the International Space Station as it does. This is live.
And I'm currently listening to ABC radio, emergency radio in the background.
The International Space Station has just passed over the Philippines, I believe, and is now heading towards the Australian region. Again, I'm not sure if it will capture Debbie or not, but a nice view at least. Whilst we wait for that, let's go back to the latest radar that we've got on the screen share there. Anything you can tell us about what's going on there? Where's the biggest rainfall?
I'm looking
rain
over
rates?
Townsville at the moment.
That's Townsville.
Let me go to
So they're getting a little bit, but not really that much at the moment.
Looks like some heavy bands moving into Bowen.
Yes, Bowen. David, is Bowen the place that you're most concerned about?
Between Bowen and Proserpine. So the area south of Bowen.
Yeah. Well, there's the small area there, Airlie Beach.
Yes,
which
that's
is pretty much the bit that is on the bit that juts out just off the Whitsunday Islands. But there's the latest from the International Space Station, and it will reach the horizon at some point, where the sunlit part of the Earth is in the distance. Thought it might have happened by now. But again, let's go back to the radars briefly there that you were looking at. Maybe if you get a wide shot, the 512 kilometer composite view.
Loki. Oh, there we go, you got full cyclone.
There we are, that's better. So there's the wide view of what's going on there.
Yapoon's getting hit by a band. McKay's getting hit by a band. Prospering. Bowen. Hayman Islands. In fact, Hayman Islands seems to be in the core.
Really?
Looking at that.
yes. I would. I say Hayman Island is in the
Looks like it's in the eye wall.
southern area of the Debbie's Eye.
Yeah, it does look like it right at the end. Even though it's certainly in the eye wall. Guess we're now third. I can make that bigger. Tell you what, I'll just zoom the screen in.
Yeah.
I'm
Big
just
enough?
looking at Debbie now, and it's looking like it is going to continue northeast westward track. I could be wrong.
I'm just looking at the overall track.
In fact, hang on. It looks like it's now got northward motion to it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about half an hour ago, Craig.
Well, remember,
This
I
could be
went
heading
away
for
for a bit.
It could be executing a tight clockwise loop here.
One of the tightest U-turns you'll ever see. In fact, look.
Well, if it's a U-turn, that would be even more remarkable. And quite hilarious, apparently.
No, we're just laughing at the fact that it's for God's sake. Oh.
So it's almost like hysterical laughter there from you.
Anyone on radar seeing a double eye wall?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I'm seeing a double.
it looks
That's
like
what I was thinking.
looks like it's had a double eye wall since we first went on air 2.5 hours ago.
No, it's near enough. Looks like it's just near enough completed an eye wall replacement.
Really?
Because the old eye is practically in half. And just get ready to merge. And the newer eye is huge.
As you can see, the International Space Station
the new
edging
one is
closer to the sunrise on Earth, that is. And I can see quite a bit of cloud cover, but nothing more to tell yet.
The new eye is very elongated.
Well, it's practically going under an eye wall replacement. That's what normally happens.
Oh crap, with the radar there.
We're just watching the International Space Station feed right now as it moves closer towards the Australian region. Again, I'm not sure exactly what the trajectory is, whether we'll be seeing the storm, but we're hopeful that we will.
As we should be.
And we've seen plenty of historic storms, well, storms that may become historic in the future on the International Space Station. We saw Matthew on here. We saw, well, what else have we seen? All sorts of other storms. Maysack in 2015 in the West Pacific. Bansi and Eunice and Pam were on it as well. It captures a lot of
I
storms.
thought Winston was on it.
Don't recall. It captures a lot of storms at a better perspective than most of the satellites do.
28, 24.
Nathan, just looking at the total track for Tropical Cyclone Debbie, I think she is attempting a very tight recurve and is possibly...
You're calling it a recurve?
Well,
So
I'm
you think it
looking
is
at
going to
the-
make a U-turn?
Yes, and it's going to possibly cross back out the sea to the south of St. Lawrence.
You really think it's going to do that? I'm not convinced it's going to do that yet.
Well, it's certainly not moving
look,
its forecast
just
direction.
factored in all the coordinates from the Bureau's latest advisory on the system,
Are you still talking?
and it takes...
Fucking cut the conversation.
Oh, who's that? You're watching the International Space Station feed of Cyclone Debbie. Well, what we expect will be Cyclone Debbie shortly. It's just about to move under the sunlit part of the Earth. And you can see the edge of something there. I'm just guessing as much as anyone viewing right now what it is we're looking at here. But I do wonder whether those are spiral bands. This is on the International Space Station feed, and this is live. Current time, 8:30 UTC. This is Force 13 Live. We're tracking Cyclone Debbie, and that looks to be the centre of the storm, if I'm not mistaken, at the very top of your image. I'm not sure whether that is Debbie or not. It's difficult to discern, but it looks like. And we will see it on that angle pretty soon as well. Just caught the very edge of the cyclone eye, just off the right hand side of the screen there. Just about missed it, unfortunately, but it was very close. But you can see that is all the very edge of the storm, and there's the side of the eye wall and the storm's influence there. So that's the latest from the International Space Station. And you can see the edge of the storm there, some significant thunderstorm activity occurring. I'm not sure which side of the storm we're looking at here. It's probably on the eastern side or the southeastern side or something to that effect. And that's what the system, the edge of the system is looking like there. This is Force 13 Live, tracking Cyclone Debbie. And in fact, there's just that other shot there, the edge of the storm on the eye wall. Quality's not too great on that one. And the edge of the storm going off the bottom right hand side of your screen there as the International Space Station moves over. Well, let's return to the actual coverage then, whilst we were enjoying that just now. And if you've got any comments or questions, do send us a message. Start your message with Force 13 all in text, and we'll respond. Okay, questions. How long is the live stream going on for? Well, we're pretty much committed until the storm makes landfall. Now, who knows when that will be? If it doesn't make landfall, then we're going to have to do something else. But it's looking almost as if it may not make landfall, as David suggested earlier, but I think it's going to. I would not say that the storm is not going to make landfall at this point, but it has quite clearly stalled at the very least, and possibly turned towards the north at least briefly, possibly undergoing some sort of loop right now. We're just speculating as much as anyone else. Okay. More questions here. Let's see. Bowen radar looks like it's finally headed to the coast, moving west-southwest. That's interesting. We'll check up on that shortly. What is Cyclone Debbie on the CDPS scale? That's a question, interesting one. At the top of the hour, we came up with it came up with CDPS stage 4, which means that the damage could be quite significant from the storm. Still, that is down from CDPS 5 to 4. So as you can see, the latest satellite imagery shows the storm was moving west, and those latest frames are possible northwestward movement. Let's try and get the other variant of the infrared imagery on now as well. Here we are. And you can see there the storm. Again, not entirely sure what it's up to there, but those latest frames just show that the southwestern side of the eye wall looks like it's having trouble. We're back with the Skype team. Hello.
Hi, Nathan.
Oh, what can you report, if anything?
Just listening to ABC News in the background, and nothing major winds have picked up, but I didn't catch the location.
Very good. And there is the radar as well. Let's try and get a close-up on that radar again if we can, just to see where exactly the centre of the storm is.
Closer?
Yes, please. So we can possibly see where the centre of the storm is right now and try and discern its movement a bit more.
Closer. Big enough?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking necessarily in that regard, but on the actual range of the radar at the top of the screen, where you have the options to change.
Highest is 512. I'm on 512.
Yeah, that's the most zoomed out version. The other ones are more zoomed in. We're looking. I'd like to see one of those right now. Maybe try and get an idea of where the centre of the storm is. Try and pan close to it. Which one's the closest radar station now? That'd be Bowen or Mackay?
Yeah, Bowen.
Oh, yeah, 64. Have a look at the Bowen.
Hang on. Radar
And it's quite
images.
close to the storm.
Bowen.
Yep, go right ahead.
Yeah,
There we are.
that looks very close indeed. Eyewall is over the Hayman Islands on that radar.
One question.
So
Which one?
the small Hayman Island is in the eye effectively right now. That's interesting. Not to say that it's in the centre of the storm, but it's just about in the eye. It's quite a significantly sized eye. That's the most northern of the Whitsunday Islands. And for those who are not familiar with Hayman Island, it is located just 19 miles northeast of Airlie Beach, and it is around 41 miles east of Bowen.
I'm just looking at the last few frames of Debbie now, and it looks like the eye is trying to expand, and it looks like it's done a little loop.
Yeah, I've just noticed that on radar.
It's drunk.
The double eyewall structure seems to have gone as well on the latest frame.
Well, it's there.
Well, that's IR. That's useless for picking up double eye walls. You really want microwave imaging radar.
Well, look at the radar.
I don't know if I can find microwave.
Very curious.
Probably need AMS.
I mean, the old rain bands there, the old eye fading away, so you can see them actually joining into the old newer
That's
eye.
right, yeah.
So
How many
technically,
eyeballs
the
does it
older
have
eye.
right now?
It only has two. It only has two.
2.5? 1.5?
Two and a half.
Maybe?
You could say it's got 2.5 because that old eye
But
is pretty
is
much
it?
in half. But at the minute, I'm going to say it's probably a good hour or two, or depending on how quick that eye wall is weakening. The old one, should I say, not the new one, because the newer one will be sapping the energy from the old one, which will be soon to die out. Which I imagine it would be pretty soon, I'd imagine, going by the radar image anyway, and going by the IR image, the eye is expanded, so that could be the newer eye starting to take effect. Because that'll explain why the southern eye wall has struggled, because that'll be the new eye trying to pop out.
There's a double eye on the Intellicast radar.
That's your
double eye wall, should I
new
say.
eye. The cold, the less rain in it is the newer eye. The darker the old eye wall.
Alright, let me just
That's the eye that's present now.
let me just reiterate what the latest information is for anyone who is joining us at this time. Cyclone Debbie is now just a few dozen miles off the coast of Queensland. It is approximately, what was it? Something like, well, it was 5 miles northeast of Hook Island in the Whitsundays,
Yeah,
which
that
is
was
only
it.
around 19 miles northeast of Airlie Beach. That's where the storm is right now. We'll have another position update next hour, but the way it's going, I do wonder whether we'll see a landfall on time, so to speak. Initially, we were thinking that landfall would occur in around 3 hours from now. The last forecast from the Bureau of Meteorology put it back 2 hours to 12 noon local time. So we'll wait and see on that. Its current intensity, 115 miles per hour, 948 millibars was the latest from
I've got 953 on tropical
13's
tidbit.
information. Well, that's curious because the Bureau of Meteorology, I think, go much lower than that. And the storm's expected to move inland throughout this evening local time, and then by tomorrow morning it will be making its closest approach to Mount Coulon and then moving towards the south and southeast. Some models suggesting that it will not lose tropical storm status for the whole duration whilst it's inland.
Now, what strange coffee or whatever has those models been taken?
No idea.
I really be inclined to find out.
Well, I'm going to retreat from the desk here for just a few moments. I've been here for 2.5 hours already without moving once. So I'll be back in just a few moments, and I'll leave you with, I guess, an open mic from the three of you right now.
Yeah, my timing is just right. This is developing scene, and we're trying to.
I think it's going to make landfall near Aya, or however it's pronounced. It seems to be moving in that direction.
The next update from the Bureau's Tropical Cyclone Warning Centre here in Brisbane should be in about 17 minutes from now.
Got over it. No, that's fine.
I have no idea why ADT is still saying at least category 4, which is ridiculous.
It's saying 6.3 for some reason. It looks a mess on, right? Looks a mess on Devaro. Because the structure of that is completely mangled.
Well, you gotta realise that's what a second eye wall does to it. Second eye
I've
wall
never actually
don't.
seen that happen on Devaro
And then you
before.
go, I'm not gonna damage the structure.
5.7.
And it would help if my microphone was on as well. It is now. I'll just repeat what I just said. Cyclone Debbie. I'm back, by the way. Cyclone Debbie will have an update on its position in 15 minutes.
And a flood watch remains current for coastal catchments between Rolleston to Gladstone, extending inland to the Upper Flinders, Upper Thompson, the Barcoo catchments. And apology for the traffic noise out in the front of my place. Tropical Cyclone Debbie is expected to result in widespread 24-hour totals between 150 to 250 millimetres from late Monday. This is the current advisory from the Bureau. It'll be updated around 12:30 local time today. Isolated event totals in excess of 400 to 500 millimetres is possible, particularly in the coastal catchments within the flood watch area.
Okay.
Catchments at risk within the flood watch area during Tuesday: the Ross, Bowl, Black Withers, Blue Water Creek, the Houghton, Lower Burdekin, the Don, Proserpine and a Pioneer Withers. We have a flood watch for the Don and Proserpine I think the Proserpine or Pioneer Withers. The rainfall moves further inland. The catchments affected from Wednesday will include the Fitzroy, the Upper Burdekin, the Belando, Upper Flinders, the Thompson, and Barcoo Withers.
All right, thank you for that. And I don't suppose you know anyone up there, David? Personally?
No, but I'll have a look at the Facebook page and I'll just see if anything's being added.
And of course, our viewers, you can always connect with us whilst we're on the air as well, letting us know what conditions are at your place. If you're in the area, we'd love to hear from you, as well as taking your questions and comments as well, and doing our best to keep everyone informed on the current situation as it draws ever nearer. And we're going to try and make sense of what it's doing, basically. I don't know if anyone's looking at the latest infrared frames, but it's looking awful.
No, I haven't seen infrared.
Well, you got to note that's a new eyewall now.
I see that.
I don't have time of getting one in.
Well, if it doesn't
But
look
we've been
right,
looking at
well,
radar
that's
for a
likely
while. Take a look at the infrared imagery if you haven't, and it doesn't look great.
Well, you got to realise the warmer part here, the little gap, is actually the newer eye now. That's the second eye wall starting to come round. The old eye's actually starting to give out. Oh, it's not easy. But if you're using IR, you can see it.
We'll have news about the storm's position in just a moment. I think we've actually just got news of its position now. The latest position of the storm is, and I'll have that for you in just a moment as I try and figure out how far it's actually moved in this last hour. I don't think it's moved particularly far at all, actually.
If not, it hasn't moved.
Alright, latest position update. The storm is 2 miles northeast of Hayman Island, 5 miles north of Hook Island. That puts it 21 miles northeast of Airlie Beach and 43 miles east of Bowen. David, what do you think of those new stats? Is he still with us?
Sorry,
No.
I did your trick, Nathan. Didn't have the microphone
you did.
activated. Okay, would I be correct in saying it's a west-southwest track?
Yes, yes you would be.
Right.
What does that suggest to you? It's going to go on
Not much change.
on as planned. But at this rate, well, looking at that last movement there, in the last hour it will have moved 7 miles. If it continues moving, extrapolate that out, 7 miles per hour, it's got 23 miles to landfall at its current direction, so that is 3 hours until landfall, if it does exactly what it has been doing. That's very speculative, but that's what it shows right now.
Nathan, latest observations, unfortunately something, they haven't got the observation for Hamilton Island, but at 6 a.m. Winds 78, gusting 95, central pressure down to 980, 979.9.
Impressive.
And rainfall is 87 millimetres.
But that's not
and
particularly impressive. That's not going up very quickly.
No, only about 5 millimetres.
Okay, let's see. Questions. Do you think it will be able to make an eye wall replacement cycle and re-strengthen before landfall? What are your thoughts?
It's going to have to be one of the most.
Probably not.
It's going to have to be one of the world's quickest landfalls. Iowa replacements I've ever seen. Literally.
Something that can take a day, can't it?
It can take a day or it can take two.
And Nathan, observations from the automatic weather station, Bowen Airport, at 6:30, 989.3, 29 knots, gusting at 37, wind southwesterly.
All right. So we continue to watch the storm as it moves towards land, and we'll have more information for you at the top of the next hour when the latest observations come in about what we think of its intensity. But the west side of the storm, what's going on with that right now?
It's open, I believe.
It's opening up, if anything.
It looks like it's opening up on this image particularly.
Now, we're not able to see that image, I'm afraid.
Hang on, let me get tangled up on my earphones. Let's try and
Now
zoom
you
in.
definitely see the rain bands where the rain is developing. Quill
go.
Reef, Perseon, and Carmilla, Nebo,
Now,
Serena.
David, I'm just looking at if you're able to look at the our output right now, you can see the latest satellite imagery on Debbie, the latest loop, and it looks to me as though it's just about completed a extremely tight clockwise loop.
I'll support that, Nathan, because I was looking at the, let's say half an hour ago, and I got that impression. So I'll support your position.
And I think it might be business as usual now for the storm up until landfall. But the positions we've been putting out throughout the last few hours has not signalled that. It's said it's been pretty constant. It's moving at around 7 miles per hour to the west-southwest is what our actual numbers are saying, rather than what we're seeing on the screen here. So which one's right?
Literally, it's touch and go.
What we do know is that the storm is extremely close to land and probably delivering Category 3 force winds to the Early Beach area and towards Bowen, maybe not quite in Bowen yet, but I think it will happen. But Craig, eye still deteriorating or what?
Oh, it will be, because you've still got that second eye wall there, so it'll get worse. The main eye will die, but I still don't see that new eye coming in soon.
A question.
Unless it literally does it, say, well, if it was to be getting the eye wall replacement done, it actually should have been probably close to finishing it about now.
A question.
I'd have any chance of strengthening.
Any high terrain near the coastline that would cause the west side to weaken? Not really, just that Australia is, it's as far as the tropics go, it's a very dry place, this part of Australia.
But yet, for some weird reason, as the water vapor went, it has no moisture on the side where Debbie's attacking. So, probably it's got to be landing direction, I mean, surely, or it's that Iowa replacement, which my money is actually on both. If that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Damn it.
Anyway, that's the latest. We don't have anything else to bring to you at this time, just to reiterate the warnings, which extend from Lucinda in the north all the way to St. Lawrence in the south, and includes all points in Serena, Mackay, Early Beach, Hamilton Island, all those places, Bowen, Ayr, Townsville, and many of the other places along the coast there. And of course, a few places inland: Charters Towers, Pentland, Mount Coulon, Moranbar, Collinsville, Prosperine, Proserpine. Not Prosperine. I wanted to make that
You've
mistake.
done well, Nathan. You've done well.
I did make that mistake.
Proserpine.
I wanted to make that mistake. It just sounds like it should be Prosperine rather than Proserpine. Very strange. Anyway, there's the storm moving towards land, and we'll have more news for you after 9 o'clock UTC, coming up to 7 o'clock on the east coast of Australia, if I'm not mistaken, David. Time zones have been really wacky recently because the clocks went forward here in the UK last Sunday, and it was like the world of confusion, certainly.
And the clocks come back 1 hour for the southern states: New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania. Queensland doesn't play.
That's
with,
even more confusing. Yeah, that's the good thing about Queensland. Doesn't play with the clocks.
That is good. Yes. And there'll probably be a few more years before it's decided. We went to a referendum a few years ago where the vote was negative for daylight saving. And looking at the radar, the 128 loop, Hamilton Island, Lindeman Island, Midshire Point, Airlie Beach to less for rainfall. That's the northern area. And then we look at Marion, Elton, Serena, Kumala, Camilla, Eugenia, Cannon, Mount Carlton.
Question, is it going to possibly go up to Category 5? On the Australian scale, it's a minor possibility. On the Saffir-Simpson scale, I really don't think it's got a chance. It looks like it's weakening. We'll be back in a few minutes. This is Force 13 Live. We'll have more coverage of the storm as we enter our 4th hour as it approaches land. By the looks of things, it could be as little as 3 hours until landfall if it keeps going the way it's going, but there's no guarantees on that whatsoever. Back shortly.
That's if it keeps doing the loops.
Sorry?
That's if it keeps doing these loops.
Yes. Okay, back shortly. Live coverage continues in a moment. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com, at your service at any time with the latest storm updates. You can also find us on YouTube if you're not watching us there already, and subscribe if you've not done so. You can also find us on Facebook, search Force 13, all in text, and it's at Force